AITA for attempting to leave my sister at the airport when we were traveling together without telling her I was leaving, knowing she would freak out my sister and I traveled for a wedding and argued throughout the trip. Tired of her attitude, I left her at the airport to take the train alone, but she panicked and joined me, later crying and saying she won't forgive me. I've had enough of the conflict and told my parents I won't talk to her until she goes to therapy. My sister, F20, and I, F23, traveled to a wedding together. We attended nearby colleges and would hang out, but we haven't been close since high school. I can objectively say that my sister doesn't like me because she admitted it. When she was still in high school, she said I changed and hated how excited my mom be when I came home and took it out on me. We worked it out, but I think she still doesn't like me. It was a stressful trip, and we were both tired, but she has a vitriolic way of speaking to me that she doesn't to anyone else. We hashed out a fight before we got on the plane home, but got into another after I asked to do laundry at her dorm, and she declined. This PMO because I would often do her laundry for her at my college house as a favor, because she didn't want to do it herself. My sister doesn't know how, won't do things sometimes because my parents or I will do them for her. An example being traveling long distances alone. I hate giving in but often do to keep the peace. We got into another fight about getting back from the airport. I wanted to take the train because it's cheaper, and she wanted to Uber because it was late, and she was tired. I remarked that if I was alone, I would just take the train, and she lost it. She hates when I give her advice and thinks that I'm being condescending. We used to joke around a lot, but now she takes everything I say as an offense. We deplaned and I beelined for the bathroom, deciding to take the train, and she can just Uber alone. I know this is mean-spirited, but she's an adult, and I didn't want to be around her anymore, so I just left while she was still in the bathroom. She repeatedly called me, and I didn't answer until I reached the train shuttle, saying I'm just doing what she told me to do during our argument and taking the train alone. She starts panicking and says that she'll come with me on the train, so I finally relent and tell her how to get to me. I still don't want anything to do with her, but she yells at me on the shuttle and sits next to me on the train and starts crying. She finally says that she was going to apologize when we got out of the bathroom, but now she'll never forgive me. It's a quick Uber ride from the train, but hers doesn't come, so I let her in mine and add a stop to get her home. I was supposed to sleep at her dorm, but stayed with a friend instead to avoid her until my train home tomorrow, since I flew with her instead of an airport closer to home. I'm not speaking to her still. Our dad was awake, and I told him I'm not talking to her until my parents make her go to therapy. I'm going to hold firm because I've had enough, and she's just going to keep resenting me and treating me like shit unless something changes. Maybe this will be enough to shake things up so she can work through her feelings towards me alone, but either way, I don't want anything to do with her while she hates me so much. AITA, relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. You're not a punching bag for her wild mood swings and attacks. You are right that she needs therapy, but to be honest, you can never be close with her again. In her mind, you're solidified as a punching bag she can abuse and manipulate, and no amount of therapy will undo that. Only help her manage it and not treat others the same way. Reiterate to your parents that you're done. You will never travel with her again. You will not have more than a surface-level interaction with her again, and it's her fault, not yours. Then, move on with your life. Commenter, this. Also, OP, please go to therapy yourself. If your parents or family try to blame you for being done with taking your sister's abuse, be prepared to go LC with them for a while. I suggest a book called The Gentle Art of Verbal Self-Defense. Commenter, NTA. It is strange that your sister hates you, but is dependent upon you at the same time. She does need therapy to work out whatever is going on. Commenter, ESH. You are not responsible for your sister, but you're an AH for the mixed signals. Either put your foot down or give in. Commenter, YTA. You suck at stating and, most importantly, keeping the boundaries, so in the end you just send mixed messages. Instead of squabbling with her, you could have just backed off and told her you were going to take the train and she could follow or not. What you did was slink off, and you didn't even maintain it. In the end, you still engaged and helped her get to you, and then again helped her with the Uber. It's not on your parents to insist on anything. Yes, they should help their kid, your sister, but you have your own part to play. Why did you agree to come to this airport rather than one near your home? You're both being messy as hell, and she's not the only one with issues. Story 2 Wibta. If I continue to let my stepdaughter sneak things into the house. So I, 38F, am married to my husband, 42M. I have 2 kids and he has one with his ex, Alice, 11F. My husband has 50-50 custody, so Alice is around a good chunk of the time. Few weeks ago, Alice started sneaking some of her Sanrio, she's obsessed with the brand, plushies into the room she shares with my daughter. It was fairly obvious, but I didn't comment on it, nor did my husband. I really thought nothing of it, but my husband got a call from his ex. Apparently, she's been wanting Alice to get rid of the toys because she's getting too old for them and wants to give them to younger family members. I think it's a bit cruel. My kids are older than Alice, and I don't force them to give away their plushies unless it's obvious they don't don't care about them anymore, which Alice clearly does as she's attached. My husband doesn't really agree either, as he bought most of her collection and feels like he should have a say in what's going with them, and he doesn't want to give them away if Alice still likes them. Is it wrong if I just don't comment on anything? My husband has made it clear to me he's not going to say anything, as they're technically his toys, and they should be here anyways. I really don't find harm in letting Alice take them over here either. But then again, as much as I love her as my own, I'm not legally her parent, and don't know if I should really get a say in this. WIBTA? Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. She is only 11 years old. I am 18 and still have some of mine lying around. Alice clearly has some attachment to the teddies, and she will know when it's time to let them go. Alongside that, X can't say what happens in your and your husband's house. Good communication and similar rules are always helpful when raising kids in different custody situations, though a few are fine. Letting her keep some toys, especially that your husband bought, is normal. Definitely NTA though, to save yourself down the track. I'd let X know you'll be happy to keep the toys in your house instead. Commenter. Ugh, she probably wants Alice to give them to step-siblings or younger half-siblings to help them bond as siblings or something. It's a hunch based on how it usually goes on Reddit, but also gross of the X. Kids should have general autonomy over their stuff, other than parental controls, grounding, etc. It would be one thing if she has too much stuff and needs to get rid of some for safety or cleanliness, but that wouldn't preclude Alice from taking some to dad's. This is something else and can mess kids up. OP. Not too far off. Alice has siblings and some of them are younger, so she wants to give the plushies to them and some to little cousins. Commenter. NTA. Pretend you have no idea of the situation and let your husband take point. Alice is seeking to keep her beloved possessions safe, and your home is that safe place. It wouldn't surprise me if Alice is being told it's time that she grew up and stopped being a baby in order to shame her into giving away her beloved plushies. She needs a place where she can feel okay being a young girl and feel some autonomy over her belongings. As far as her mom's house goes, Alice is getting rid of her toys, but she's not re-gifting them to younger family members. So it's not about Alice getting rid of her toys. It's about a power play of her mom forcing her to share when she doesn't want to. Coerced sharing is another way of saying being bullied. Story 3. AITA for telling my dad I'll stop talking in therapy if he changes therapists. I'm M15, in therapy with my dad, 43. We started going back in April, and it's been okay, I guess. I got some stuff off my chest, and Dad did too. We made some progress, but my dad isn't liking the progress, and he doesn't like the therapist anymore. The reason we're in therapy is our step-family. Dad doesn't like how I handled becoming one, and he doesn't like that I'm not open to being a more TV-style perfect family, kinda like Hallmark. He wants us to be like we're a regular bio family, and he doesn't like that. It's different for me, and that I treat his wife like a family member, but not a parent, or that I don't see my step and half siblings as just siblings, but I see them as steps and halves. And after 5 years of him being married, he wanted to fix stuff. The reasons for therapy: 1. The fact I won't invite his wife to do Mother's Day things with me, and the fact I try to get out of celebrating with her on Mother's Day every year. I know she's a mom, but she's not mine. I'm a member of the Dead Moms Club, so for me Mother's Day is weird, but also I don't like the idea of celebrating his wife like she's my mom. 2. That if I'm asked to write in my parents' names, I'll typically only write his. If it's for something where it's not about contacting someone, I'll put him and mom down. 3. I don't go to his wife for stuff the way I will for him. I'll spend time with her without complaining, and I will help her out if she asks. But if I want a parent's advice or whatever, I go to him and never her. 4. I don't ever just say my step and half siblings are my siblings. I'll tell people I have step and half siblings. 5. I'm not super close to my step and half siblings. We get along fine, but he said I used to really want a sibling when I was younger, and now I have them, and don't do the stuff I used to say I would. 6. I didn't want a photo the step family added to the last page of my childhood years book that I get when I turn 18. Dad said in therapy he wants and feels it's best if I accept the step family as just family and let his wife be another parent in my life, not just a family member. The therapist has told him that it's okay to want things to be a certain way, but he has to understand he can't force it. She asked me if there were any compromises I'd be willing to make. I said I wouldn't complain about Mother's Day if I just joined them for breakfast and was then excused. My dad has really disliked being told he can want but can't force something. He pushes back on the therapist a lot with that and refuses solo sessions. Now he told me he feels we should find a better therapist. I don't want that, and I told him. I said he doesn't get to find someone who'll just agree with everything he says. He told me we can't fix things with this therapist. I told him I won't talk anymore if he changes therapists. He told me therapy only works if we try. I said I know. He told me to be less petulant about this. AITA? Relevant comments. Commenter. You're right. Your dad doesn't want a better therapist. He wants a therapist that agrees with him. Sounds like this one is good. Stick to your guns. You can tell him that this therapist is working for you, but that if he wants to get another therapist for himself for solo sessions, it might be a good idea. NTA. Commenter. Your dad's an ass. He sounds completely self-absorbed and unable to grasp that someone else has a different but valid point of view. I'm sorry. Changing therapists will most likely just be a waste of time with the same eventual result. The The good news is that you are 15 rather than 5, and that it sounds as though your family situation is not horrible, aggressive, violent, or anything like that. I don't say that to minimize your problem, just to suggest that perhaps your best strategy is to keep your head down and tolerate until you can escape. Given your age, that's only 3 years. It can be done. Maybe make a couple of compromises with him. Get something you want in exchange for doing something you don't care much about. Like, could you agree to just say brother or sister, inner monologue, only to people he knows and only for the next 3 years? Perhaps changing a few of your outward behaviors while protecting your feelings, opinions is doable. P.S. Your behaviors are reasonable. I'm not criticizing them. You are right, but you still have to make it through in his household. Plan college far away. Choose a major that gets you to financial independence. Then live as you wish. Tell your dad he can respect your point of view or not, but that the depth of your future relationship will depend on which choice he makes. The power structure will be different in a few years. Bide your time. Story 4. AITA for refusing to pay for my sister's wedding dress after she made fun of my body. So I, F21, have always had a bit of a rocky relationship with my older sister, F26. We're pretty different in a lot of ways. She's always been super into fashion and makeup, while I'm more laid back and focus on school and work. Despite our differences, I thought we were at least civil until recently. My sister is getting married next year, and she's been really excited about finding the perfect wedding dress. Since she's trying to save money for other wedding costs, she asked if I'd help pay for her dress as a sisterly gesture. I recently got a decent paying job and was willing to help her out, even though I thought it was a weird request. Fast forward to a few weeks ago. We were at a family gathering, and I was wearing this dress I felt good in, but I'm not a size 2. Out of nowhere, my sister made a snarky comment in front of everyone about how brave I was for wearing something so tight. I was embarrassed, but I didn't want to make a scene, so I let it slide. Later that night, she made another comment, this time in private, about how she'd never wear something like that unless she lost weight. I got upset and told her that what she said really hurt my feelings, but she brushed it off, saying she was just being honest. Now I don't feel like helping her out with the wedding dress anymore. I told her this, and she flipped out, calling me selfish and petty. She says I'm ruining her big day over a joke, and that it's not fair for me to back out when I already agreed to help. My parents are saying I should just let it go and help her since that's what sisters do, but I feel like she crossed a line. AITA, relevant comments. Commenter, NTA. Why is a 21-year-old paying for the wedding dress of a 26-year-old? She's had more time to get established and save up. Jokes at other people's expense aren't jokes. They are put-downs. If someone chooses to tear you down, you owe them nothing. The more she whines and gets family to gang up on you, the more you should hold your ground and get really stubborn about your boundaries. You buy or make her a lacy wedding gag to remind her that if she doesn't have anything nice to say to people who are doing her a favor, she should probably stuff her mouth with the gag so she doesn't burn bridges. ETA. Thanks for the awards. Commenter. Also, you can't claim something as a joke if you have already said the comments were made because you were just being honest. Commenter. NTA. You're just matching her energy. Why would you respond with kindness when she comes at you with judgmental, aggressive jokes? She is an adult. You are an adult. You don't owe her anything. You have let her know that you will not be funding her dress in good time, so she has plenty of time to recover and try to sucker someone else into helping her or reducing her expectations. Jokes are meant to be funny. Not everything someone thinks is honest is actually true, and most of it does not need to be said. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.